brothel here had 6 rooms, a common hallway through here. And there was 14 doors throughout the brothel. The gentleman could come into a certain room through this door, but if the ladies had to, they could also exit out an outside door. It's over 100 years old. And there was bars and gambling houses and brothels and, of course, the jail across the street, just in case. And the madam's house was right down there. She could oversee things. After it no longer was a brothel, a lady lived in here. It was her house. And she had a little wood heater in here, and she lived here.
Wow.
Yeah, and there's a lot of buildings like this here in this town. A lot of history. From 1904. It was the richest strike ever in the nation. And it was the richest because gold occurs in almost every rock here, where normally it does not. So there was a lot of gold, but it was so small they no longer had the technology to get it. But we do now. So it'll be rich again.
So there's a lot of potential here, huh?
A lot of potential, but there's a lot of history. It's like you walk back in time. And you get a feel for how hard people had to work to just make a living. The tent city, there was tents all over the desert. There was like 30,000 people here. And a lot of the women came and they brought the good china. There's pieces of china all over the desert because they believed in the dream. And there was tents everywhere. They had little stoves. Some of them used like a Model T generator to make an electric light. And they worked their heart out. As you'll see in the graveyard, many of them it was just too hard. Mm-hmm. But they sent money home or they brought home with them.
I think it was the women that really ran the Old West with their businesses like laundry and bed and breakfast. And then there were the prostitutes and the madams, the brothel owners, or the soiled doves as they were called. And there were plenty to be found in the Goldfield red light districts, which became the social centers of the communities. But it was pretty dangerous being a prostitute. Well, some of the soiled doves, they met up with some of the famous outlaws there in the brothels. But some of the women were able to become extremely famous and wealthy by becoming madams of their own brothels, and they were able to contribute to the economy ever so discreetly.
This is the old miner's cabin, and it used to be the old radio station in Goldfield. It had no heat and no air conditioning. They said they froze in the winter and they baked in the summer, and I have renovated it into a bed and breakfast. And it's been an expensive, timely project, but it's really neat. Everything in there is original. We've used old appliances like old sinks, old tubs. It's going to be really neat. Mm-hmm. There's going to be souvenirs, authentic ones from Goldfield, and the purple glass story. I don't know if you've heard about the purple glass, but any purple glass you find in the desert was from prior to 1940 because we imported the sand from Germany, and it was a high magnesium content. And the reason it turned purple is when the UV rays hit it, the magnesium, it turned purple. So any purple glass you find is dated back to that era, and we stopped importing it because they found out it was good for weaponry.
Wow.
Well, there you go.
Well, where did the fire happen?
There's 2 fires here, and where the Goldfield Hotel is, right down that street, one of the fires that kind of wiped out a lot of the town was a guy that had a still, and it blew up. It caught fire, and it burned out a lot of stuff. There's pictures of it. And it was devastating. So there was 2 major fires and a 100-year flood.
And
now,
the
flood? 100-year flood was right here. Right there where you see that wash. It came through the mesa. Now, if you go to the gift shop, the panorama picture on the back wall will show you the tent cities. They were all out here. And you can drive out like Ramsey Street, which is one in from 95. and drive out there, and you'll see remnants. You'll see little cities. Anywhere you see glitter, there'll be tin cans and glass. That's what they did. They just piled it up. And there was probably, well, there was about 30,000 people. So there was, I can't tell you how many thousands of people.
30,000, wow,
All
we
over
underestimated.
here. Everybody out here lived in tents. Now behind you is the cemetery where you see all the white. And it's really cool. There's headstones from over 100 years old.
Didn't they dig it up and move it?
They did, and you'll see the plaque out there. They're called the Ghoulies. And the city fathers got these guys out of a bar, if I have it, that's what it says, and hired them to move the graveyard because it was kind of in the way of progress. And so they moved it out there.
Well, where was it? Like, didn't it, like, was by the train station? Where was the train
It's
station?
very possible. Now, the train station is where Bobby has his place down there. And if you go down there, you'll still see, like, one wall standing. But it was in the way of progress, so they did move it. And a guy named Alan Metzer keeps it all painted up and looking good. And,
Do you think that disturbed anything or caused anything?
You know, and I don't know about that. Everyone has their own belief system. I don't know. You'd have to ask.
It's very interesting. Very interesting. I didn't know that, but I just found out about that.
Yeah, yeah. It's just one of the little legends of Goldfield.